Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. So the summer transfer window is now open and it is open until October. Now the question is, who are Manchester United gonna sign? Now there is a lot of players on our agenda. Now Manchester United, as you all know, have got qualification for the Champions League after we beat Leicester by 2-0 yesterday. And Solskjaer has outlined his transfer plans after Champions League qualification. He has told our board to get his preferred targets. And Solskjaer's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. We are looking to recommend a striker in. We're also looking to recommend a right winger in. We're looking to recommend a centre defensive midfielder. And we're also looking to recommend the centre half in, despite the fact that we've got 7 centre halves in the team. And I think we're also looking to recommend a left back in. I think, we need to make at least 3 signings if we are to be title contenders for next season. But I think Solskjaer did recently say that he's targeting 5 players to overhaul the Manchester United squad. Because at the start of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure, he did say to Mike Phelan that he wants to make around 9 signings. So far, Solskjaer's made 5 signings at the football club. Well, he's made 4 permanent signings because last summer he brought Daniel James, and Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. And in January he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. And I do expect in this summer transfer window for more players to leave Manchester United. It did say the other week that we'd put like 6 players up for sale. But we get rid of players in the summer transfer window. We are going to generate money. But I think, the players we're looking to get rid of is Jesse Lingard. Hopefully we can get rid of Andreas Pereira because Pereira's not getting in the team. Hopefully we can get rid of Sanchez permanently because that will free up our wage pool completely. Hopefully, we can get rid of Smalling, Rojo as well on permanently. Hopefully, we can get rid of Phil Jones, and I'm hopeful that we can get rid of Diego Dalot because Diego Dalot, quite frankly, is not good enough to represent Manchester United, and he is not even getting in the team. But to be fair, Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of players since he got recommended in to the football club. I think it did say yesterday that the Glazers have set our transfer budget, and I think we're going to get from 100 to 150 million pounds to spend in this summer transfer window. But obviously, I think we're going to get around 70 million pound in revenue for qualifying for the Champions League. And you can say we've had a pretty good season, getting qualification for the Champions League and finishing third. Because earlier on in the season, you wouldn't have thought that we'd have finished third. You wouldn't have even thought we'd have finished in the top 8 the way we was playing earlier on in the season. Because earlier on in the season, we'd enjoyed our worst start ever to a Premier League season. And, we have got one priority now for the remainder of this season, and that is the Europa League. The Europa League is the only chance we've got of winning the trophy this season under Solskjaer. We have got Lask on the 5th of August in the second leg. We are 5-0 up from the first leg, so we're more or less into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League and that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's been at Manchester United now over a year and a half. And I think he has been permanent Manchester United manager for around, 15 or 16 months. We're giving the job permanently, reflecting on what he did in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. But, we've been doing very, very well in the league. We are unbeaten in our last 14 Premier League games now. We haven't lost since the 2-0 game against Burnley back in January. And like I've said, I think a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved. And I've seen a hell of a lot of improvements under Solskjaer. Don't get me wrong, there's still things that Manchester United need to improve on. I think, we need to keep the ball better. We need to be more creative. I think we need to be more quicker on the flanks. Maybe we slightly need to be more clinical in front of goal. Maybe defensively, we need to look better in that. Maybe Solskjaer needs to slightly improve his decision making. But I think in like some games, Solskjaer's tactically got it right. But obviously, in a lot of the games since the start of this season, Solskjaer's been very tactically naive. I think his approach to the vast majority of our big games this season, have been very, very good. I think now Solskjaer knows his best 11. And he knows, obviously, his best formation as well. A lot throughout the course of this season, we've been going with the 4-2-3-1 formation and that. Don't forget there was a period where I went with the exact same team for 5 league games in a row. And that's the first time we'd done that since, was it 1993? And that's a good 27 years ago now. But I expected, to be competing next season. We have got to spend money to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. Like I said, this has been the 7th season now. We have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. And, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. But like I said, we've got to recruit well in this summer transfer window because obviously, other teams are going to recruit as well. Chelsea, they've done very, very good business so far. I think they have signed 2 players. Obviously, they got Hakim Ziyech back in February for around 37 or 38 million. They got Werner for around 48 million. So that's around £80 million on 2 players. And I think Chelsea are close to getting Kai Havertz on the board. So Chelsea, could be in there with a shout for next season. Roy Keane's actually, come out and said that Frank Lampard has edged Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his debut season, and I think he's given a couple of main explanations why. City, are probably going to recruit because City have had their 2-year Champions League ban overturned by CAS, so they'll probably get the players that they're wanting. Not sure who Arsenal are going to try and sign. Daniel Levy at Tottenham doesn't like to spend money, don't forget. Liverpool, will probably try and make 1 or 2 signings. But, yeah. But I've got to say, the players I've been impressed with this season for Man United, I think Martial's enjoyed a very, very good season. I think Martial's enjoyed 2 good years out of the 5 years he's been at Manchester United. He's done well this season under Solskjaer. And he also did well in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. Martial's got 22 goals in all competitions this season for Man United. And he has been playing in that central role this season. But to be honest with you, he looks very, very effective in that central position. Even though that's not his predominant position. I think Martial's got 51 goals now, is it, in the Premier League for us. So I've been very impressed with him. Rashford, I think his season's been up and down, hasn't it? The start of the season didn't really make an impact. Rashford, of course, then got that injury, didn't he? Don't forget that back injury, and that kept him out for around 5 months. And I think since the season resumed, Rashford hasn't been, that good, to be honest with you. But maybe, that injury had a bad effect on him. We know that Rashford has been playing out wide this season. I still think, Rashford is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. That's one thing I do believe. Mason Greenwood, I think he's enjoyed an exceptional season for the club. This was his first full season in the senior squad. Like I said, in the last few games, though, Mason Greenwood's looked a bit off the pace, but don't forget he recently had that ankle injury. Greenwood has got 17 goals for us in all competitions this season. Bruno Fernandes, like I said, he's definitely made a difference in the team since he came in, Bruno Fernandes. Like I said, Bruno Fernandes has now got 10 goals for Manchester United since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon in January. Don't get me wrong, in the last 3 or 4 games, Bruno Fernandes has looked a bit off the pace. But you can say that, in the last 3 or 4 games, Bruno Fernandes has not been getting enough service. I thought in the game yesterday against Leicester, his final pass let him down, but he did still score the penalty. Don't forget, Bruno Fernandes became the first player for Man United to win back-to-back Player of the Month since Cristiano Ronaldo. But he's done very, very well since he came in January. We remain undefeated in the league since Bruno Fernandes also came in. I also thought he did very, very well in his debut against Wolves. I think he actually had the most touches in that game. Paul Pogba, let me give you my perception on him. I think towards the resumption of the season, he made a fantastic impact. But again, last 3 or 4 games, Paul Pogba has looked a bit off the pace. He's made some, mistakes. Some of his passes have been misplaced and all of that. But I still think his combination with Bruno Fernandes has been absolutely fantastic, Paul Pogba's. I think now anyway that we've got qualification for the Champions League, that's probably more or less resolved Pogba's future. Pogba now wants to stay at Manchester United. I think we'll probably end up getting him a new long-term contract, to be honest with you. There was stories coming out the other week from Fabrizio Romano saying that Man United want to extend Pogba's contract, and Pogba's agent Mini Raiola is waiting for the offer. He said, we were close to agreeing a 5-year contract for Pogba. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's just got under a year left on his contract with an option of a further year. Pogbino was out injured earlier on in the season. He had an ankle injury, so again, didn't really have a perception on him. But I still think he's a very, very good midfielder, he's Pogba. A perception on Nemanja Matic. I think since the resumption of the season, he did very, very well, did Matic. He's had a few bad games, but I still think a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved. He's getting forward more now, he's getting in good positions, his passing is improved. And this has been his third season at Manchester United, because we paid around £40 million to him from Chelsea back in 2017. But recently Matic has been getting ahead of, the likes of McTominay and Fred, because McTominay and Fred have found game time difficult, like I said, since the season did resume. McTominay, I still think he's enjoyed a very, very good season. Definitely the foreseeable future for Man United. Don't forget, earlier on in the season, McTominay did have that injury. Fred, I think he's had a very, very good season as well. He's been very, very mobile, when he's played this season. And he has confounded his critics wrong, as you know, Fred. Because he got a lot of criticism under the Jose Mourinho era. But to be fair, Fred never really got his opportunities under the Jose Mourinho era. We did pay around 52 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk back in the summer of 2018. Perception on Wan-Bissaka. I think he's enjoyed a very, very good season for Man United. Again, though, in the last 3 or 4 games, Wan-Bissaka's looked a bit off the pace. He's looked a bit fatigued. I think he's defensively, been very, very good as Wan-Bissaka. But I think we need to see the attacking side of his game. He doesn't really show much attacking intent, and that's the only fault with Wan-Bissaka. We did pay around £45 million to him from Crystal Palace last summer. My perception on Victor Lindelof, I thought he had a very, very good game yesterday against Leicester. Made some very, very imperative blocks and got in very, very good positions. But he isn't a world-class centre-half, he's Victor Lindelof. And I think we're looking to get a world-class centre-half in that can go alongside Harry Maguire, because Lindelof's obviously not on Maguire's level. Eric Bailly's not on Harry Maguire's level. Eric Bailly, he's always injured, isn't he? Very, very injury-prone. He has recently been out with a head injury in that. My perception on Harry Maguire, I think he's had quite a few bad games as a Man United player, where he's made a lot of mistakes. He's looked very, very exposed at the back. Some United fans don't think he's good enough to captain the team. Obviously, he's our captain at the moment. Harry Maguire, we paid £80 million for him last summer. So he's the second most expensive sign at the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. So he's done okay. Luke Shaw. Now, I think he's had a good season, Luke Shaw, to be fair. Obviously, he missed the first part of the season with injury. Then he was in very, very good form when he came back. Now, obviously, he's out with an ankle injury right now, because Luke Shaw has missed our last, 3 or 4 games with this ankle injury. I'm surprised, he wasn't available for the game against Leicester. But I do probably believe that Luke Shaw is going to remain our first choice left back, probably for next season as well, because he's more experienced than Brandon Williams. Brandon Williams has had a very, very good season. This has been his first full season in the senior squad. And I thought Brandon Williams was fantastic yesterday against Leicester. Showed good attacking intent. Made a lot of good forward runs. His overlapping was also very, very good. So I'll give Brandon Williams a lot of credit from yesterday. But Williams and Luke Shaw, I think, are the only 2 left backs we've got. I think we've got a few other players that, can operate as a left back. But, yeah. My perception on David De Gea. I think you already know my perception on David De Gea. David De Gea has been heavily criticised. Reflects on his calamitous mistakes he has made in the last couple of years. And I did say, didn't I, Solskjaer's got a decision to make on David De Gea, because there's been rumours coming out saying that Dean Henderson could possibly be our number one goalkeeper for next season. Dean Henderson's obviously, been on loan with Sheffield United. It was his second season on loan with Sheffield United. And I've got to say, he's been Sheffield United's player of the season, has Dean Henderson. Like I said, he's had a few other loan spells with Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury. We got Dean Henderson from Carlisle back in 2011. That's where we got him from. And we got him at the age of 14. Do you think now Dean Henderson would be good enough to become our number one? He did recently say that we've been in talks with Dean Henderson over getting him a new long-term contract. Reportedly, Dean Henderson wants around 100 grand a week. He did recently say that Chelsea are willing to more than double Dean Henderson's wages, and they're willing to offer him around 170 grand a week. Dean Henderson's current wages at the moment are like 70 grand a week. Sheffield United are paying the vast majority of that, don't forget. They're paying the vast majority of that. But Solskjaer has been obviously talking a lot about David De Gea, hasn't he? And he said the other week that David De Gea has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last 9 or 10 years. But he also did make an admission saying that, David De Gea's got to step up to the plate, and his position, of course, is under threat. But he has been our number one for several years. David De Gea has now made 404 appearances for the football club in all competitions, and around 312 appearances is it in the Premier League. David De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club. He's won the club's Player of the Year, reflecting on his good run of performances. I think he's won the club's Player of the Year like 4 times out of the past 6 or 7 years, reflecting on how good he has done. But David De Gea did recently say that he intends to stay at the club for several years. This is what he said. But I don't think we'll sell him in the summer transfer window. But if he was to sell David De Gea in the next year or two, we'd still get more than the 17 or 18 million that were paid for him from Atletico Madrid. And I said, when David De Gea leaves Manchester United, he will go back to Spain. David De Gea has had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been at the football club. But maybe for our Europa League games next month, Sergio Romero, could actually, start them games. My perception on Daniel James is, well, I thought he had a fantastic start to the season, did Daniel James, of course, scoring on his debut in a 4-0 win against Chelsea and all of that. And I said, didn't I, that, earlier on in the season, Solskjaer, was overplaying Daniel James and that. We got him for, £15 million from Swansea last summer. And he was a cheap solution. We know Daniel James can play on the left and he can also play on the right. And I think he can also play as an attacking mid. But when we've played him for the vast majority of this season, we've put him on that right, Daniel James. But like I said, after lockdown and all of that, Daniel James was not getting in the team, was he? We know that Mason Greenwood has been playing ahead of him and that. And reflects on this now, Daniel James could possibly be loaned out for next season, possibly in that. Like I said, don't really have a perception on Alex Tuanzebe and Phil Jones. Obviously, Jones doesn't even really get in the team now anyway. Like I said, I think he's one of the players that's going to be leaving Man United in the summer transfer window. Tuanzebe, like I said, he's been out with injury, like Phil Jones. I think Tuanzebe and Phil Jones are going to be out with injury until August. Diego Dalot, he hasn't really played this season because he's had a few injuries in that. He's our backup right back to Wan-Bissaka, But like I said, we have got a good squad. Like I said, he was definitely good enough, to finish in the top 4, which, Manchester United have done now. But we need to strengthen up, if we are to challenge for the league next season. And I'm hopeful, that we can get our 21st title under Solskjaer. Obviously, we've won 20 titles at the moment and 13 of them are Premier League. So as it stands at the moment, we are the most successful team in Premier League history. But, we need to start competing for the biggest trophies, because that's what football is all about. And like I said, Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world. Like I said, in our history, we have won 45 trophies. Obviously, 38 of them trophies came under Ferguson and that. But we've lacked silverware in the last 7 years. We've only won 3 trophies since Ferguson left, and that was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League and the League Cup under Mourinho. So we haven't won a trophy since 2017, so it's over 3 years now without a trophy, and that's the first time I think that's happened since, like, is it the 1990s? The 1990s and that. But like I said, I still don't know if Solskjaer has a foreseeable future for Manchester United. Of course, time will tell. But I said, didn't I, even if we didn't get qualification for the Champions League, and all that, I still think Solskjaer, would have been Man United manager next season anyway, because it is a transition period, and it has been a transition period for a while. Earlier on in the season, it was looking very, very imminent that Solskjaer was going to be sacked by Manchester United, and when Solskjaer was under pressure, don't forget there was talks of Mauricio Pochettino coming in. There was also talks of Massimiliano Allegri coming to the football club. Because like I said, we had a lot of bad results earlier on in the season. We had the 2-1 home loss to Palace. We had the 1-1 draw with Southampton. We had the 2-0 away loss at Watford. We had the 2-0 away loss at West Ham. We had the 1-0 away loss to Newcastle. We had the 2-0 home defeat to Burnley in January. And it was looking like then, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to be getting sacked by Man United. But I give you the main explanations why he didn't get sacked, and that's because of the signing of Bruno Fernandes. Don't forget, we did go on a 19-game unbeaten run in all competitions and 2 we lost to Chelsea. I think with Solskjaer being a club legend, that also played a part in it as well. Obviously, Solskjaer was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. One of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as a player was 1999. Of course, when he did win the club the treble, which is just over 20 years ago now. So they're the reasons he didn't get sacked by Manchester United. Solskjaer's got to make a decision on around 8 players next year, because we've got around 8 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. We've got to make a decision. But to be fair, though, we have extended a lot of players' contracts since Solskjaer got recommended into the football club. But like I said, even when I said, didn't I know, I was very critical of Solskjaer earlier on in the season, and so too a lot of Manchester United fans. We was all very, very critical of him. But I said, it wouldn't have solved any problems, if we'd have sacked him earlier on in the season, because at the end of the day, Man United are not known for a sacking club. Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. We've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes, endured 9 months, 8 or 9 months. Louis van Gaal endured 2 years, and Jose Mourinho, he endured 2.5 years. So Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Obviously, we've been criticised for several years, reflecting on the poor decisions we've made. Being criticised for how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've been criticised for overpaying for players as well, because I will make an admission, we have overpaid for players in recent years. We've been very, very critical of the club's board. We've been critical of Woodward for several years. We've also been critical of the Glazers for several years as well. Woodward's been with us since 2012, and the Glazers have been with us since 2005. Like I said to you recently, it says that Man United is still looking to appoint a director of footballing, to join Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's structure. There's been a few names linked with that director's role. 2 names that recently got mentioned were Andreas Berta from Atletico Madrid and Fabio Paratici from Juventus. And I did say, that's one of the structural changes we needed at the football club, but if we are to get a director of footballing, we need someone who knows the club inside out, someone with the right philosophy, of course, and someone who's got that experience. Don't forget Van der Sar was linked to that role at one point, former Man United goalkeeper. He's now CEO at Ajax. Everyone was linked with it. Darren Fletcher was linked with it. I think Rio Ferdinand was also linked with it. But, yeah. But, Solskjaer says, it's a fantastic achievement, to finish 3rd and get qualification for the Champions League, because it is a good achievement, because let's put into the equation, this has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first full season at the football club. So you've also got to put that into the equation. Okay, people say, reflect on the money we've spent in the last 7 years. We should be much more of a better position than that. We should be probably where Liverpool are, or minimum where Man City are. But we have spent a lot of money. We've spent £900 odd million on players in the last 7 years, and we've recruited a good 32, 33 players in since Alex Ferguson left. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see who Man United are going to sign in the summer transfer window. We know that next season does start on the 12th of September. You know, that's already been confirmed, and that's not long away now anyway. But yeah, obviously the players we're looking to sign is Jadon Sancho. I think we'll probably get Sancho now on the board. Now we've got qualification for the Champions League. If we didn't get qualification for the Champions League, then I don't think, we would have got Jadon Sancho. I presume now that talks will begin between Man United and Dortmund, for the pursuit of Jadon Sancho. I think Jadon Sancho is expected to train with Dortmund, is it sometime this week, if I'm right. Dortmund do remain ruthless over their valuation, don't forget. They have said that they want at least 100 million for Sancho. He did say the other week we was only willing to pay around £80 million. At one point it said we was only willing to pay £50 million for the player. But reports from the German press have already said that Sancho wants to leave Dortmund. Dortmund are now looking for replacements for Sancho because they've come to accept the fact that he wants to leave. They're looking at Jonathan Ecoke from Lille, valued at around 41 million. Dortmund have recently been looking at Rashica from Werder Bremen. So they are now looking for replacements. But I think Jadon Sancho said he wants to come to Man United if he does leave Borussia Dortmund. I think he actually could be our first signing of the summer transfer window and our 6th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But we want to build on that. We're still trying to get Jack Grealish. Maybe Grealish could stay at Villa for another season now because Villa have obviously stayed up in the Premier League. We've already missed out on Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham. He says we're in for Nathan Ake from Bournemouth. We're still keeping tabs on Kalidou Koulibaly from Napoli and that. So it'll be interesting to see, who Manchester United do get in. It'll be interesting to see, who Manchester United, do get in the summer transfer window. So anyway, guys, on my next video, I'm going to be giving you a review of Manchester United's Premier League season. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.